begin transmission.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome. Good to see everybody here. I'm Bill. This is Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures, and we're having a Sunday hangout. Let's see who all has showed up today to visit. We have Shaitan's Hammer. Hello. Might have to go halfway through the show, but we'll watch the replay. Well, thank you, sir. Shaitan also says he needs that mini comics Roboto. Well, check your Walmart. If your Walmart's carrying the line still, it may just be there. Meg Foster is Motherboard in Revolution, which is the new He-Man cartoon show based upon Revelations that's coming out. A new character. I don't think it's from Plasma. I've never heard of it. It may be related to, the technology thing that they were doing with Triclops in the first one. I don't know. It's weird. Shambolics good. See, the Majestic One is here. Michael Purvis has dropped in. Hello. And so has Rolo and Adam. Hello, Adam. And Boba Hicks is here. And Bjorn has to go to Walmart in a minute. I'm sorry. I hope it'll be okay. You be careful out there. And Rolo says it's a fantastic day to like and sub to this weird toy adventure channel. It's amazing, addictive, and absolutely free. Yes, it is. Also, please share this wonderful every Sunday event with your friends. Gracias, Rolo. All right, good deal. And Bjorn made some pancakes. Yeah, I like pancakes too there, Boba Hicks. And Rolo saying, Bjorn, long time no see. How are you? And Shaitan's Hammer is a waffle guy. If your Walmart is like mine, it probably still have the stuff. Okay. And Boba Hicks, they were chocolate chip pancakes and Payne's Toy Samples. Hello and welcome. And now that I've got the chat all caught up, let's say hello to our co-host here.
What's up, everybody? It's Joneser, your favorite comic book guy. So let's do this!
Well, hello there, Joneser. How's it going, man?
It is going okay.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you as well, sir.
Oh, that's good. I'm kind of surprised a lot of folks is here. We got about 9 folks, it says, watching. I figured a lot of folks would be either visiting their moms or celebrating the day and maybe watching this wrong replay. But, hey, I'm glad to have everybody here.
Exactly. And everybody's might be have later plans or like with me, we got our stuff done earlier. Everybody's in different time zones and different places in the world. And some of them, unfortunately, we got reminded today, my family, that not everybody has their mother on Mother's Day, that she may have passed on. And for those people, my heart goes out to you on this day.
And I appreciate that. That applies to me as well. My mom passed away several years ago, and it's kind of tough when you don't have your folks anymore. My dad died a long time ago when I was little, and mom, she had a long battle with the cancer, and she decided that it was time to go. And that time comes sometimes, and then we can't be selfish. We have to be happy for them because now they've gone to their eternal rest. But it does hurt, and there's a missing place there. never gets filled back up. It gets better, but it never gets completely okay.
It was my wife's first Mother's Day without her mother, and so
Oh,
it was kind of a tough one.
I can believe that. And Boba Hicks says Mother's Day is in March in Ireland. Okay.
Well, about that.
And Bjorn plugging you there, Joneser. Yeah, y'all run over there and subscribe to Motu Joneser if you haven't already.
Appreciate that, Bjorn.
And Bjorn has made his mom breakfast. And that's a good son right there. That's an absolute good son. Now, the trick is to make mom breakfast in bed on Mother's Day and not screw the kitchen up to the point where when she gets up after eating her breakfast, she has to clean up your freaking mess.
Right.
That's the kick. That's the kicker right there. That's the one you have to watch out for, especially when you're a male human being. We tend to be a little more messier than the females in the kitchen.
That is true.
And Rolo says our first Predacon versus Xenozilla comic is ready to print. Nobody has ever seen it. Would you like to take an exclusive look in on it? I certainly would, Rolo. However, the caveat is, and I know you tend to do whatever Rolo feels like doing. Let's make sure that that's okay with the grind head over there. I don't want to step on his toes there, brother. Would really appreciate Joneser's opinion. Okay, he's asking your opinion on that.
On the toy or on if we should share it?
Well, the comic. They've got a comic with Predacon versus Xenozilla that they're fixing to send to the printers, and he wants to know if we want to take the exclusive look in on it.
I would love to if that's okay. Or
yeah, that's the deal. I don't want to get Grindhead upset.
Right. And if we have to sign an NDA or something.
yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not selling my soul to Grindhead Jim. He might be one of my best friends, but I'm not doing that. But yeah,
Jones certainly knows how to keep a secret, so you don't have to worry about that.
Well, you know what the motorcycle club folks say about keeping secrets. You know, 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.
Yeah. And it's easy.
All right. Well, if you talked about it and it's okay, you know how to send stuff to me. You get to either email me or I guess Instagram. I've got Instagram open up here. I can send it that way, and I'll be happy to pop it on. I'm sure folks would love to see a closer look at it. And he says it's no secret at all. Okay. Well, that's a good deal. So, Joneser, you got any fresh pickups this week that you've done, or are you just kind of playing with what you got?
I do, if you don't mind me. Give me a sec to grab the box. It's right in front of me.
Sure deal. Sure thing, man.
1 second here.
All right. And while you're doing that, I'll just go ahead and show a quick commercial break. I think that would be cool. Here we go. We'll play some commercials, guys.
We'll return after these messages.
Here are a few words about Levi's jeans and cords.
Levi's.
Levi's.
The citizens of Tuthopolis remain ever watchful for.
The cavity creeps! Chris!
We make holes and teeth.
Quick! Warn the Crest team! Chris! Cresty's trying to tell us something. The cavity creeps! Chris, come on!
Let's give him the brush with Crest's fluoride.
Watch treats, see your dentist, and fight the cavity creeps like the Crest team.
Fight cavities with Crest!
Imagine Eternia. Imagine the gate of fangs. Eternia. Batteries not included. Imagine the Sony Skytrax. Figures sold separately. The Cavern of Justice. Eternia. Imagine the power lift to the control chamber. At last, from the masters of the universe, the world you've always imagined can be yours.
Get yourself ready for a trip through McDonald land. Take along a friend and grab a hold of Ronald's hand. Follow Ronald McDonald through the land of apple pie trees. And don't be surprised if you meet Big Mac and Big Cheese. There's thick shake volcanoes, you'll even find a French fry thatch. Now just turn around and see if you won't find a hamburger patch as you're heading for a McDonald's in McDonald land, a McDonald's in McDonald land, a McDonald's.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers Collection. Hark! Batman being called to stop a dastardly deed? New from Kenner's Superpowers Collection, the Batmobile, figures with power action sold separately.
Got you, Joker. Don't laugh yet. Release the war. It's a trap. Activate Batarang. Trouble, Batman? Not my Batmobile. Unleash phase 2.
Is this the end of our heroes in the Batmobile? You decide.
If Monday's sad or Tuesday's sad, make a Saturday.
That's a Sunday.
Wednesday rains or Thursday's gray, make a Saturday.
Looks like a Sunday.
Instead of half a banana in a pineapple ring, add yogurt creamy smooth. Pop a grape on top and that's a Saturday for you. Make a weekend treat any day of the week. Make a Saturday.
Now that's a Saturday.
Man, you just took me back to my childhood for most of those.
Yeah, and at the very end, the Saturday was eating itself, which is kind of disturbing.
A little bit. You know, the Cavity Creeps one really brought me back. Holy crap.
Yeah, you know, there was a whole series of those, and I have most of those in my collection, and they kind of progressed, you know, and the very first ones were really, really good. The animation was sharp on those.
Sure.
Bjorn's going to head off to Walmart, and he'll let us know if he finds anything interesting. Thank you. And Shaitan says he recalls the Saturday ad, making a Saturday instead of a Sunday. And look for a Randor for Adam there, Bjorn. And will do, he says. Okay. And let's see what. Here we go, right here. Must have been out of Motu when the Eternia playset came out. Well, the thing is, it came out at the very end of the line, and it was very limited distribution on that because they had just started producing it, and then they halted the production on it, and very little of them were created, which is why they're so rare and expensive.
Well, yeah, was an expensive playset for the time. That was big.
It was, and you know. Those big play sets were a thing back in the late 80s. It got progressively more ridiculous. You know, the USS Flag comes to mind. The Defiant comes to mind for G.I. Joe. Eternia play set, things like that. And a lot of those things were way, way, way out of our parents' price range. And it was just something that we only dreamed of.
Sure. No, it's funny because as a kid, I really wanted the Fright Zone. And I remember I never got one as a kid. And some friends had it. And I remember just being really into the Fright Zone. And I just wanted the smaller and least, what would I say? It has like maybe 3 action features, maybe 4. You know, but there's nothing on the inside. It's a hollow shell. And there's just nothing to it. But I mean, that thing, I guess, was just in my imagination.
Yeah. And of course, I know you have one now, and we've seen that. And the puppet that you have for that is in very good condition for something that old.
Yeah, it was stored in a good way. You know, they had it in a tote, and it was sealed up and locked up for 30 years. And so I was pretty impressed with the condition of it. You know,
I remember when you showed me that thing, I was floored.
Yeah, no, and I've had some offers on it, and it's funny as I will probably never sell it, unless I sell the whole collection and it would go with it, but that one's
I think Joneser would be pushing up daisies at that point. I don't think that Joneser's going to get rid of anything while he's still walking this earth.
probably not. And if Lyric still has an interest at that point, he'd probably end up inheriting it all,
And that's a good thing. It's nice to know where our things are going to go. I know Rolo would agree with me on that. He's taking steps to make sure his things are going to someone who would appreciate them, and that's a good thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said you had something you wanted to show us?
Yeah, I got a box from Big Bad Toy Store. Got about 5 items here. I'll go through them quick and in the order of my excitedness. This one I forgot I ordered. This is that Snake Trooper.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably was meaning to cancel that and forgot to, and it shipped. So I guess I got a Snake Trooper. I don't even know why I ordered it.
Cause it looked cool.
It did, and I think at the time they dropped them all, and I just ordered everything and then dialed it back.
Yeah.
The next one, these are all Masterverse from here. I got the Buzz Off.
Okay.
New Eternia. He looks okay, So I'm interested to get him out. These New Eternia figures, I think, are the best of the Masterverse here.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving on, we got Grizzlor trying to fight that ring light.
Yeah.
But he looks pretty cool.
Got real fur on him too, right?
He's got real fur except for the head.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's more like a coat from what I've seen. I've seen some people unbox him.
Yeah.
And then we got Faker. I like the color scheme on this Faker compared to the one we saw earlier.
Right.
It's not quite the vintage with the orange armor, but I don't know. I kind of like that pink armor on him. I don't know why.
Okay.
It has a kind of Prince Adam vibes or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And the one I'm the most excited about, and this completes the original 8 for me for Masterverse in a look I can deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the Merman.
Absolutely.
He's got the right armor, or at least righter than a naked one.
Right.
I would have preferred Merman to get the New Eternia treatment with the concept art, more of a classic look instead of a second Kevin Smith inspired Merman. But, I'm just happy to get him with his armor and his pieces. Otherwise, I was going to buy a classics one, or I was going to do something silly like that just to have them.
Mm-hmm.
But then that exceeds my expectation for Masterverse, because the same thing I wanted with Origins is what I wanted with Masterverse. I just wanted to have the original 8 in their classic look.
And that was my thinking when I started collecting Origins. I'm just going to get the original 8.
And then we both went crazy and bought way more than we went out to buy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and some of that probably had to do with how they released them, because they were smart enough not to put the original 8 in the first wave, because then a lot of us might have checked out early.
That's true, and that probably was pretty shrewd of them. Right now, my pre-orders are kind of ridiculous. Let's just say I've got a lot of stuff pre-order, not just Origin stuff. I've got a few other things. One of the things that somebody didn't understand that I ordered, or they didn't know what it was Chris Tremblay. I was over on his channel, and I told him that I had the Rocketeer from the Long Box Heroes ordered. Now, the Rocketeer, of course, is was it Dave Stevens' character that was also in that Disney movie or Touchstone movie several years ago. But it's done in a superpower style by a company called Longbox Heroes that Toy Otter is behind. And if you don't know who Toy Otter is, he's our superpowers expert in the community. He's been around for a long time. He ran a blog at one time called the Superpowers blog. And he was the one that broke all the information on the old toy line. Got a hold of all the production stuff, pre-production stuff, the photos, artwork, and things from that. and shared those with us years and years ago back in the early 2000s. So Toy Otter knows his stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to him on Instagram, I suggest you do, because there's a lot of interesting things that he puts up there.
Well, to answer Adam's question there in the comments, a couple of branches are broken.
Yeah, and that's kind of normal. That set doesn't survive very often. The little birds are generally torn off of it as well.
Yeah, I think I've got the birds are okay, but it's the end of the top branch, and that's it. So
do you have the piece? Do you have the piece? So you might
don't have the piece. But you know, it's barely noticeable. It's got 3 of the birds. I guess maybe there's a 4th bird on that branch. I guess I don't know. But it's got enough to grab a figure, which is what it's meant to do. But I mean, that I rarely play with that set just because
I can imagine. Have you ever actually poured the slime through it?
We do not have a slime pit, but that is on our list. Lyric wants a slime pit, and yes, we do plan on pouring the slime through it when we get it, because that's the only reason we're gonna buy it.
Well, just don't put Grizzlor in there if you do.
No, we know better than that. We'll probably pick on somebody a little more easy to clean up, not Mossman or Grizzlor or anybody.
I think wasn't it Beastman? Was he the one that was always slimed?
Beastman's on the box art, and there's also He-Man's fun to do because everybody has that slime pit He-Man idea.
I'm surprised they haven't done a slime pit He-Man repaint for the Origins line.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming. It's got it.
Oh, you know it. I mean,
all they really have to do is paint Anti-Eternia He-Man green, and they got him.
Boom. Exactly. And Radical Toy says Grizzlor will make a custom movie. He didn't mean Grizzlor. He meant Beastman, a custom movie Beastman with a face so similar.
Right. He would. In fact,
well,
the thing I thought when I saw the figure was it looked a lot like the Beastman from the movie.
Well, Shaitan's Hammer is going to take off and do his thing today. You take care, man, and we'll catch you on the replay. Merman looks awesome, says Boba Hicks. And we caught that, Adam. I caught it when I brought your comment up. But the Beastman from the movie was more Grizzlor like than Beastman like, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially the armor choice and the color choice. He wasn't red, he wasn't blue, or orange. He was very brown and shaggy. Yeah,
and his face was kind of Grizzlor looking, in my opinion, more werewolf looking. I think.
You know, I prefer Grizzlor to be done in a more of a savage tone. You know, whereas they've messed around with it. Like in the mini comics, he was very savage and beastly, but then in the cartoon, he was like intelligent and he was the man at the computer box. And then the DC Comics later touched him, and they kind of did a mixture of both. He was savage, but he was like the general battle tactician, like mastermind chess player type character, which I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. I don't like an intelligent Grizzlor. I want to like Grizzlor destroy you, kind of, you know, like that's kind of where I think he fits best.
Yeah, I think you're on to something there. I kind of agree with that. Moving on down, let's see. Mine aren't broken. I guess he's talking about the trees on his set there.
Yeah, it's very hard to find a clean one.
It really is. It really is. They're rare, and that plastic gets brittle, especially with age. Beastman slimed him on the package. Okay. I passed on Grizzlor Masterverse only because I have the classics version. I figured I didn't need both, and I can understand that. That's a good question that some people who may or may not I'll be collecting these two lines might ask, you know, especially those who are thinking about getting into it. And I figured I'd let you, as a semi-expert, if not a complete expert on the two lines, discuss that real quick. What are the major differences between the classics line that came out back in the early 2000s and the Masterverse line now?
Well, I would say two things. One, the classics have the pinned joints, so the Masterverse have the pinless joints, so they look a little more. I think it looks better with the pinless joints. And the biggest one for me is if you weren't on classics when it came out, that's an expensive line to get into. And these Masterverse figures are in the same scale. I think they're a nice, cheap alternative. And I would say some of the examples, especially the new Eternia Masterverse, are superior to the classics. I know a lot of fans wouldn't buy that, but in my opinion, especially for the bang for your buck, you can get most Masterverse figures for under $20 or under $25 rather, or under 30. You have good luck finding a classics at that price point. Most of them have priced out, especially the big figures you would want. Like you want He-Man, you want Skeletor. I mean, good luck getting him for under $80 or $100. You know, it's almost impossible. So I think the Masterverse for price point, especially, and I would also say for variety. If you're into the She-Ra stuff, they've got a Princess of Power line. If you like the Kevin Smith stuff, they've got a lot of his version of it. If you like the classic look or even alternative looks with the concept art and whatnot, you got a lot of play factor there. You can, what they did really smart on some of them, like with Trapjaw or Triclops in particular, you could put them in both looks. You could put them in their little robo cult look with their robes, or you could take that off and give them the classic look. And I think that was intelligent to have them in both styles.
Mm-hmm. Adam says classics do not have wrist hinges, and only a select few like Bo have it. And the classics don't have rockers on the ankle, so basic articulation is a huge difference in the Masterverse versus classics, and that's absolutely true. I'm aware of that.
Adam knows more than I do on the classics, for sure.
Yeah, I think he has a few of those figures in his collection.
Right.
The other thing was distribution. Touch on that for a minute. How was the classics distributed as compared to our Masterverse now?
Well, the main thing is I don't think classics was ever a retail. I want to say it was a mail order. So you had to be on their subscription service, or you had to order. I don't even know, because by the time I had found out about it, the ship had sailed. And so I missed.
I think you had to join a club.
Okay,
basically, a figure of the month club, and if you didn't join the club, you didn't get the figures. And I don't know if you had our first choice or refusal like you did with the record clubs that we used to join when we were kids. You know, you get the record once a month, and if you didn't refuse it, it came in, and then you were supposed to pay for it. I ended up like Beaver. I had a whole stack of that shit that I never paid for when it got found out about. There was an uproar, but yeah, I think that's how it worked. And some of that stuff was con only releases. There were several con only releases figures that if you didn't go to the convention, you were SOL. You know.
Yeah, and I would say, and I think I said this before on another one of our shows or hangouts or whatever, was the classics, I think, or not the classics, the Masterverse figures, I think, are superior as a figure to the Origins in every way. I mean, look, articulation, all of that. But where the Origins have it beat is in the play factor or the play sets, the vehicles. I think Masterverse, besides Battle Cat, has no play sets, no vehicles. But the figures are beautiful, and they're awesome display pieces. They slide right back into the packages, so you can put them right back and hang them up like I do over here. You know, or you can pop them out and play with them like I do over here, you know, so they have a lot of that. But as far as playability, I would say the Origins have it beat in that way, whereas the Masterverse, as far as if you're the toy photography or something like that, those Masterverse figures are beautiful. But if you're into stop motion, Origins is going to be better, because the Masterverse ones are kind of a pain in the butt to do in stop motion style. Some of the joints are stiff, and getting them in through the movements is just a little trickier, whereas an Origins one would be a lot easier to do.
Well, you know, talking about Origins playability factor and that very toyetic line. I would not be afraid to let children play with my Origins figures, but I would be kind of a little hesitant to put a Masterverse figure in their hands.
You know, and quite honestly, Lyric doesn't have a lot of interest in the Masterverse ones, whereas for the Origins, we let him play with them all the time.
And well, that brings up something that just came to my mind. We're talking about the aesthetic. What is the difference in your mind between having an exaggerated proportioned muscle man figure like Origins, as opposed to a more realistic looking book on the Masterverse?
You know, I kind of like the Origins for the muscle, the buck is the same on every figure, you know, because that's what we grew up with. Mm-hmm. That's what the vintage line was like. Whereas the Masterverse ones, it almost kind of had the same buck, but then later when they came out with this version of He-Man, mm-hmm. he had a bigger buck. And I always liked the idea of He-Man being a little bigger than everybody else. You know, I mean, he's supposed to be the most powerful man in the universe, so I think he should have the big, impressive physique. Whereas if everybody else has it, that's fine too, but they should all be a little punier than He-Man, in my opinion. You know, I mean, you look at Skeletor and he's like ripped, like the most skeleton man you've ever seen.
Well, that's something that a lot of people may not have realized or paid really attention to. In the original vintage line, there was one body buck. That was there were two body bucks. There was a human buck and there was a beastly buck, and the only difference was the chest and the torso here. The furry underwear was the same on them all. And then you had beast arms, human arms, and reptile arms. And then you had beast legs, human or heroic legs, and then you had reptilian legs. The beast arms and the reptilian arms were from here all the way down to here. And the muscle tone on the beast arms and the reptile arms were not quite as defined as they were on the heroic or human arms, if you remember that. I did.
Right. Well, and then later they added the robotic legs and arms for Man-E-Faces and Trapjaw, and you got that.
But when the Origins line came out, the reptilian and beast part was just this part here. So the muscle up here was ripped on all of them instead of a little more less defined on the bad guys than the good guys.
Right. You know, and I kind of liked when they did the 2002 and Skeletor was done a little more taller and lankier and a little more, he was still ripped, don't get me wrong, but he was a little more, I wouldn't say skinny, but he was leaner, you know, which gave him a little bit of a different look compared to He-Man, who was, you know, ridiculously proportioned, which is as he should be.
Yes. And Radical Toys is agreeing with you about the different books that came out later and the different style arms and legs and things. That was after the line had taken off, and it took off like a rocket. It was like lightning in a bottle. And when they had all the money coming in from the success of the line, that made the tooling budget come into play. So they said, okay, now we can tool up different stuff that we, you know, instead of having to swap out what we already have. And that's how you can tell whether a line is succeeding or not, is if in successive waves you see more tooling.
Sure. Or more vehicles, play sets, you know. I mean, that's I know I just said that like a broken record, but that's really where the Masterverse doesn't have it, is in the vehicles and play sets, just because of probably cost and size. You know, I mean, we all saw that Super 7 Snake Mountain or Grayskull. The price points on those were upwards of $500 or more. Not everybody can go out and spend $500 on what will essentially be a diorama you could store your figures in.
Or a doll house. I think that's what they call those. The play sets are called doll houses. And unfortunately, we do play with dolls. These are dolls. But you know, action figure was a name created back in the G.I. Joe days of the original 12-inch GI Joe so that boys would play with them, because boys were reluctant to play with dolls. That was a girl activity. They toned down the steroid use for New Adventures of He-Man.
Yeah, he was leaner in that, and then he had the ponytail and a laser sword. I think they were trying to go a little Star Wars on that too.
I remember the line. I was about to say New Adventures of He-Man. What the hell is that? As if I did not know what that was. I mean,
yeah,
He-Man in name only. I mean, they tried to tie it in, but that was a fail line in my opinion from the get-go.
I wasn't a fan of that at all. I even tried to watch it with an open mind, and that was hard because I'm just so old school. Like, as soon as you see anything where it doesn't look what I think it should be, I'm immediately like, that's not right. Like I can't do it.
All right, let's see what Rolo has sent us. I'm going to throw up Insta here on the big screen here, and we'll take a look at what Rolo has sent here. This would be the Xenozilla versus Predacon first look at the comics that they have come out with at Resurrection Toys. And let me get in here, and we'll zoom in on that. That is a first panel look there. Here's another first panel look. That looks like Xenozilla there crashing through the weeds there in the jungle. There's a mountaintop. Looks like some eggs here getting ready to hatch. Moving on down. Very interesting. That looks like Predacon there. And there's Xenozilla coming into the picture. Let's see what we got here. Yep, there's a Predacon. Looks like there's going to be a battle in a city, maybe. Here's some close-up shots. 3 panels there. There it looks like Xenozilla screaming up into the atmosphere. And Resurrection Island is where this is going to be. Xenozilla versus Predacon. Looks like they're in a fight. Looks like Xenozilla is getting the better of Predacon in that particular picture. And finally, it looks like the Kraken and Cthulhu there are going to make an appearance. So very, very, very interesting there. So first look, folks. First time these have been seen right here on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. So what are your thoughts? That looked like it's coming right along, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say that's very impressive. I'm wondering who did the artwork for that.
Well, we'll have to let Rolo tell us about that. Tell us a little bit about what we just looked at there, Rolo, in the chat, and I'll bring everything up on the screen as you do. Let's see, Radical Toys. I heard women call action figures man Barbies. Yeah, well, okay. My wife, when we first met, used to call my tidy whities my panties, and I had to correct her. Those are underwear, baby. We don't wear panties. Of course, that was back when men wore tidy whities. I don't wear those anymore. I wear kind of a boxer type brief now. Rolo says, opinion on style and all. It looks really great. I know that these are pre-production pictures. They're not completed. I noticed the lettering is not in there. I'm sure that there's going to be more to be done with these. But what we've seen so far, it's very enticing.
Right. No, I liked the art style. That's why I was curious as to who done it. And I'm sure some of those, is it going to be a black and white style, or is there going to be color? Or
yeah, all good questions there, Rolo. So tell us a little more. Tell us about the artist. I'm sure it's a Mexican artist that Rolo and Resurrection Toys has contacted. Let's see. He says the artwork is made in cooperation between him, Rolo, and a local artist who I can't pronounce the name of.
I'm not even going to try that.
Yeah, that's a very Aztec sounding name. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going. I'm Mrs.
We'll call him Mr. X.
Do big things see on screen. Big words not possible. Big words no.
Mr. X.
So
works.
yeah, there. Yeah, Mr. X there, Fieros, X Fieros there is going to be the artist, and the other thing was only the front and back page will be colored. The rest will be black and white with colored aspects. And of course, I know that's to save money. That's a budget thing. How are these comics going to be distributed is the other thing. Are they going to be included with figures as a freebie, or are they going to be available separately? Tell us a little bit more about that, Rolo. We're all just on the edge of our seats. It says here, we will call the individual XOF, just like the Metal Gear. Okay, all right, man. That's XOF there is
Hey.
the artist.
I like that.
Me too. All right. Well, I'm going to open, I think, Roboto, but I'm going to leave Duplico in his package. What do you think there, Joneser?
That's probably a smart bet there, just to see which way the wind blows on him, because you weren't really sure what you wanted to do with him. So, that's how I would play that game if I was you.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and let me pull that overlay off the screen so you can see things a little better.
Sure.
And I'm going to open up Roboto here for everybody real quick. We are 45 minutes in, and I think that we're about towards the end of the show, guys. So I'm going to do this and then maybe a little more chit chat, and then we're going to call this one a day because it is Mother's Day. And I know that everybody has things to do and people to see today. So let's get the ball rolling here and go ahead and check out the Roboto package. And I'll go over the Duplico package first. Now, there's a difference in the fronts of these packages. As you can see here, I'm going to take me off the screen. You don't need to see my ugly mug while I'm doing that. There we go. It has the Snake Man logo in the background here, along with the snake looking top part of the box art here instead of the sky of the original box. But this figure here and this figure here, Roboto says twist waist unleashes robot power. Duplico has nothing over here on his, and they both say modern posing with retro play. They both have the Mattel logo at the bottom, and they both have a mini comic back there, and it's two different mini comics. Duplico's mini comic is different from the one for Roboto. Let's turn it around and let's take a look at the back of the box art. Okay, so looking at the cross cells, the cross cells are almost the same, but there's one difference. And that is the Rulers of the Sun figure that are shown on it. This one shows Hypno, and this one shows Duplico. Any ideas why that may be, Joneser?
No, I was just about to ask, are they part of the same wave? Like Adam would know that for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious about that.
I don't know. And quite honestly, my interest in the Sunman part of this line has been almost non-existent, just because they were not something I collected as a kid. They have no nostalgia factor for me. I do think it's a cool story, and I'm glad that they were included for people that want them, but they weren't part of what I was going to collect.
Mm-hmm. And there in the chat, Rolo was saying a little more about the comic that we just looked at. He said that there will be a traditional cutout coupon and, of course, Hall of Fame for people like me. And he appreciates your input on that, Jones, because according to Rolo, you are the comic expert in the room today.
Well, and I think that black and white style, not like you pointed out, Bill, it will work for saving money, but I also think it gives it kind of a uniqueness, especially if they put like some red in there for like blood, if there's a scene like that, just some extra shadow or whatever. Black and white comics can be very cool, moody, pieces if done correctly.
Right.
It'll give it
Absolutely.
a unique look.
And Bo Hicks says people are army building with duplicos. Okay, I didn't realize that. Were you aware of that, Joneser?
I was not. That sounds like an expensive army build there.
I would think, especially considering how rare they are to see. I mean, I was floored when I saw that in Walmart in the wild
Right.
like that.
Like, well, and I'm collecting the classic Ninja Turtle line. They've re-released those. Those are almost impossible to find, even harder than Origins ever was. And I want a foot soldier, and I want several foot soldiers, and those seem to be the expensive, rare one to find on the secondary market. You're almost going $30 a piece per foot soldier. So I wanted to make a big army of them, but at that price point, I probably will not.
Right. Rollo says, we try to realize an individual style, but with a strong approach and lean towards the Silver Age with those comments.
There you go.
And you're more than welcome, Rollo. Now, here's our other expert here. I wonder when they will change the Snake Man package art and if it will revert back to the heroic Evil Warrior package art and blister art. A good question. I know that we've been teased some possible furthering of the line with Filmation like Origins figures that are going to be coming out maybe in the future. I don't know how those are going to be distributed. Have you seen that already, Jones? Any of that?
I did, and I questioned. I mean, didn't Super 7 kind of nip that in the butt already? I mean, I guess there might still be some.
Towards the end of the Classics line, when Super 7 took over, they did get the license and the ability to release the Filmation accurate figures, and they did. And it was another way of re-releasing all the same old figures again, just with different head sculpts and maybe accessory armor and stuff like that.
Yeah, Trap Jaw's Fly Swatter or whatever.
Right. And Radical Toys is answering our question about the cross sell artwork and things. Said they are part of the same wave, and usually the deluxe ones will show the same character on their waves and the vehicles as well on their package. And he says the Wave 12 is what this set is. So
I knew he would know. I guess I was just wondering the different mini comics. Usually you get one mini comic per wave.
That's right, and there's a different mini comic in these, and I'm kind of curious as to what Duplicos is, but I'm not going to open him today, or at least that's what I say right now. Try to help me stay true to that because fingers are getting itchy over here.
I hear you.
But anyway, the other thing I'm thinking, the Duplico may be on the back of Duplico's package because he was a Walmart exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. What about Hypno? Hypno was for wide release, correct?
I never saw. Is he the one with the eagle or the hawk?
Yeah, right here in his hand, he has a little eagle in his hand, and he has this big lollipop in his other hand.
Yeah, I've heard people call him Lollipop Man or Pizza Man or whatever.
Yeah. All right, so looking at Duplico here, he has solid wristbands with the diamond on them, like all the Masters of the Rulers of the Sun figures. He has dark purplish blue boots with red toe tips on them. He's got the same buck style as He-Man as far as the chest and the upper arms and the legs go. He's wearing some kind of a vest. Doesn't have it looks like it's got a utility belt around his waist with all kinds of pockets. It says here, Duplico centers himself to regenerate, duplicate, or even travel in the astral plane. And he's fighting Snake Armor, Skeletor, and Pighead here on the back. And he's got some sort of a BFG there in his hand. I don't know how and it's got a cord that connects to his back, I guess. I
So,
can see.
so if I understand that right, he's a teleporting person, or is he kind of like multiple man in the X-Men? Is that why they're army building him, because he makes duplicates of himself?
That could be. I mean, that would make sense. At least to
Yeah.
have three of them. You know,
Right.
usually when you think of a person who can duplicate themselves like that, you know, I think of Triplicate Girl from Legion of Superheroes, for example.
Sure, or multiple man on the X-Men.
Right. It says Duplico centers himself to regenerate, duplicate, or even travel the astral plane. So I guess he can astral project, kind of like Doctor Strange. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with the character. I don't know his backstory. Once again makes me want to open it up and look in that mini comic so I can see if they touch on his backstory. Rolo's going to be back in a few minutes. His lunch is coming. Good. Have a good lunch there, Rolo.
Absolutely.
Radical Toy says Hypno regular release Wave 12 Duplico is just hard to get anywhere. Wanted him. He has a great custom parts like the head mostly. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I got him. Well, multiple reasons. I got him because, of course, everybody's looking for him, and there he was. And the other was look at all those custom parts that makes me want to open him up and tear him to pieces and make some sort of custom out of him.
Right.
I'm going to hold off on that, but it's probably going to come. All right, let's take a look here at Roboto because we're going to open him. Roboto, heroic mechanical warrior, twist waist, unleashes robot power, modern posing, retro play, Mattel logo at the bottom, Snake Men logo up here at the top behind our Masters logo. At the very top here, it says Roboto may have strength of steel, but his cybernetically enhanced heart, it's his cybernetically enhanced heart that makes him one of Eternia's bravest. And we talked about that yesterday. He has the heart in him. Twist his waist, his gears turn, and his jaw moves automatically. 3 interchangeable weapons.
Well, and in the original Roboto mini comic, I believe Skeletor got a hold of Roboto's heart. It's neat that they got Too Bad in the artwork too, because he was a big part of that mini comics, as was the Land Shark. And I believe Skeletor got a hold of him by taking his heart, and then he became an evil warrior for a little bit. And then at the end of the comic, his heart is restored to him. And then the sorceress, I believe. Oh yeah, the Bashosaurus was in there too, I believe.
Yeah, you see a Bashosaurus back there in the background. I have no doubt that they're not going to release that. Sorry, folks, but it would be nice to see that. Bo Hicks says Boltman is available over here. I haven't seen too many of the Snake Sunman characters overall. I've seen very few of the Sunman characters anywhere except at Target.
Yeah, I'll say Target, Sunman, and Pighead, and that 3-pack peg warmed pretty hard for my.
Yeah. And that was sad to see, but it's true. All right, so we're gonna. All right, first of all, down here at the bottom, I don't know if you can see this, that the bubble has this snaky texture to it on both of these packages. As a matter of fact, even this one here. So
all the ones with the snake heads had that.
And I'm going to go ahead and tear into this. And we'll start with the mini comic, and hopefully it will let loose. There it goes. It wasn't attached. Assassin's Aim. Of course, we have, this is always included. It tells you what's removable and what's not. We'll flip through this real quick. Assassin's Aim. There we have our upcoming playset, Point Dread and the Talon Fighter, being showcased here.
I believe some of those are shipping on Amazon. They should be arriving soon, I believe.
Right. And now look, here's Snake Mountain, and that looks more like the Filmation look to Snake Mountain that we don't see in the mini comics. Looks like we're having a feast here at Snake Mountain, but the food that they're eating sounds like it's riveting. Yuck. And There's Snake Men here enjoying the feast with there. And here's Skeletor brooding, thinking about those power swords, wanting to get into Castle Grayskull. Here is Roboto and Hypno coming in on the screen. Hypno has his lollipop here and his bird. And fight. More fighting, and looks like a giant wave here coming up out of the ocean. And He-Man comes and saves the day right on time. Here's the back of the package with the cross cell on it with Hypno, Roboto, Snake Armor, Skeletor, and Tongue Lasher. So I saw all of these figures here at Walmart. Did not see Hypno, but it did see Duplico. So those were the figures that we saw that just got released at my Walmart. So let's get in here and see if we can get Roboto out inside the package. We'll take this and put it out of the way so it's not bothering me. And let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. So let's see how easily removable he is. He wasn't even attached with no stringy dingies. Did you see that?
How about that? Yeah, he just took them right out.
Yeah. Why couldn't they all be like that?
You know, I seem to work out pretty good there.
Yeah, stringy dingies not needed. Here's a gun attachment and a claw attachment for his arms.
Just like the vintage.
And of course, he's got this axe-looking attachment here that he has on, and I kind of like the claw attachment. I'm more partial to that, so I'll put that on him. There we go. See, and you move his waist, and his mouth moves, and the gears inside turn, and he has the little heart here.
I say, is that a sticker?
It's more like a transfer decal.
Okay.
It's not. I can almost with my finger, I can almost feel the edge of that, but it's not a sticker. I'm sure it
really
can scratch.
pops.
Yeah, I'm sure it can scratch off if you play hard with it. But
sure.
I had thought that maybe it was a solid piece that was under the plastic inside there, but it is not.
Well, you know, in the original, the heart was hidden inside behind the gears, and most people didn't know it was there. You had to turn the figure at a certain angle to even see it. This one, the heart is featured more prominently.
Mm-hmm. And of course, he's got his legs are trap jaw legs and trap jaw waist. He's got robotic arms, which are I think made just for Roboto, if I'm not correct.
I believe so.
Right, and of course he's got the standard Roboto head. It when you turn him, his little jaw moves. Standard articulation. No need for me to go into all of that, but he can do all the stuff that they can do. And his arms are removable from the sockets. I thought maybe they were attached because of the gear mechanisms inside, but they are not. And he looks kind of cool. And let me see if I can make him stand up, and we'll zoom the camera out and change the angle so you can see him standing here as I pose him up real quick here. Make him stand on his own. Come on. There we go. Now, and there they are, folks. It's Roboto and Duplico. Maybe sometime in the future we'll take Duplico out of the package, and let's catch up on the chat real quick. Boba Hicks says Boltman is available over here. Haven't seen too many. We already saw that. The Legend of Duplico is the mini comics has characters like Snake Armor He-Man in it. He is a Walmart exclusive, or at least he was. Not sure if they lifted that yet. or not. Duplico was also released on Mattel Creations at one point, kind of a stealth release, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I want to say he popped in and popped out of there. And in fact, quite honestly, Mattel Creations is a pretty sneaky place, and it might not be a bad idea to just pop in there every once in a while, or just see what's going on, because they tend to do that. They'll pop things in and then they'll be gone as quick as they were there.
Right. Cable on. Let's eat. I guess they turned me into a Borg. Eat the damn food, Rolo. You got to eat that shit. It's what keeps you alive, buddy. And it's special food he has to eat.
Okay.
I am Roboto. I am from Robotica. When alone, I watch Roboterotica. Okay. All right, Bo Hicks. I love Roboto. He has so much going on and was one of his childhood favorites, says Rolo. And that catches the chat up, and that catches us up. And let me bring myself back into view here. And back to the normal layout that we normally have with you and I.
Now, Bill, do you remember the Filmation episode that Roboto was featured in?
I do remember it, but I don't recall the plot or anything of it. I think he was from outer space and crash landed on Eternia, and Man at Arms had something to do with helping him to survive that experience.
He repaired him. Man at Arms repaired him, whereas in the mini comic, Man at Arms created him. So it just depends on what version of the lore you want to. And with Revelation, they went with the Man at Arms created him. 2000X, Man at Arms created him. But in the Filmation one, the part that is in my memory bank for Roboto that I really enjoyed was they had Roboto X-ray Adam, and it showed like a human skeleton. And then Orko goes, "Hey, do me next." And then he goes to X-ray Orko, which of course now we're all hanging on our edge of our seat. We want to see what we're going to come up with there. And then the reveal is a big giant question mark. And Roboto says, "I cannot make any sense of this thing." And Man at Arms, with complete seriousness, says, "That's fine. Neither can the rest of us." that's the whole deal.
Absolutely, and of course there was that always that little byplay with Man at Arms and Orko,
Right, but he played the straight man in that moment so great, because he didn't even act like that was to be funny, and that's what made it funny, But I just remember as a kid when that episode came on and he X-rayed Orko, my little ears pricked up, and I was like, "Ooh, maybe we get to see what we got going on here,"
Right. And of course that they swerved you like normal.
Right. Which honestly, I've been told that they do have a picture of Orko, and I have not seen it, and I don't want to see it. I think it would ruin the magic for me. Quite honestly, I think it's one of those things you're just not meant to know.
I agree, and the picture that I saw was unimpressive, kind of a letdown, and I can't see that being Orko's face anyway.
Right.
But back to Roboto's origins, I'm kind of partial to the Man at Arms built him origin personally. I don't like the extraterrestrial idea of that. It kind of misses the mark, in my opinion. I mean, I know Filmation people are that's their bag, and I have nothing but respect for that. But in my play, I think Man at Arms created Roboto. What about you there, Jones?
No, I like that better. I'm more familiar with the mini comic version. That's the one I've read more. Whereas I think the Roboto episode I saw once as a child, and the only part of it that really burned in my memory was the Orko X-ray. I can't remember any of the rest of the plot of it, So, happy birthday, Roboto. That's the episode. That's exactly it.
And he was from the planet Robotica. It sounds like that somebody was really thinking hard on that one.
Right. Or isn't the Transformers from someplace like that? Or Cybertron. Yeah, right. So,
yeah. I can hear Lyric. Is that Lyric talking?
Yeah, he's playing Super Mario 3 over there, and he's commenting on our chat and laughing at our Roboto joke, and
he's just
having a little fun.
That's great. That's great. I love to hear from Lyric, and it's always a pleasure when he comes on screen and graces us with his presence. Well, that kind of brings me to the end of the show. I mean, I wasn't expecting to do a long show today, and I really just wanted to open this package and release the figure. If you want a more entertaining show, last night's show was probably the one to watch. Radical Toys wants to know if Lyric saw the new Mario movie.
He did. He loved it. Yeah, he was pretty excited for that. His big sister took him to that as a treat, so he had a lot of fun with that Mario movie.
Thanks, there, Boba Hicks. One other thing, I thought that the frozen peas bit was what was going to get me, but no, it wasn't that. Can you guess what bit got me last night from the content ID?
I'm gonna go with the wrestling.
You're absolutely right. I know that the WWE bought most of that old catalog from Jerry Lawler, and of course they stung me. It's a content ID. It's not a copyright strike, but it is blocked in places like Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia. Now that I don't understand.
Well, I believe Saudi Arabia is trying to buy it, isn't they?
Is that the bit? I don't know. They won't let the video be shown in certain overseas. It looks like Muslim countries.
Huh?
It's odd. It's just whenever they content ID me for anything wrestling related, it's always blocked in certain areas, and that's the areas it's blocked in.
Huh?
Oh, the other thing that really ticked me off. You remember the old short that I played, how to improve your personality or whatever.
Yes.
Some asshole rap artist dinged me on that on 2 places in that, saying that his rap song was playing in that.
Really?
Yeah, odd. I contested that. I said this content isn't even being played in this segment.
Right, and if isn't rap music, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm ignorant of it, but isn't it kind of sampling and stealing music from other things anyway? So did you steal the thing that guy stole from the thing, or like I don't get it.
Yeah, I know they used to do a lot of sampling with the rap music. I don't know if they still do that or not. The beats all sound the same to me, but that's because I'm an old man.
Right.
But yeah, it's just the oddity of that. Now I've heard of that happening before. That the companies that release the rap music are shady, and they like to go around and ding smaller channels for no reason, just to be buttholes. I don't know what they're expecting to get out of that. A piece of their monetization is what I think.
Well, joke's on them. You're not monetized anyway.
Right, exactly. Boba Hicks says WWE is now owned by Endeavor. Oh, well, yeah, I remember that happened. The same company that owns UFC. The Saudis were interested in buying, but the deal never materialized. I guess they're punching the Saudis. I don't know, but the thing is that was happening way back. Whenever they would, any WWE content ID strike is going to set it so that you're not visible in certain countries, and they're always like Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan and India and places like that, Pakistan.
You know, and it's weird to me because it's like I get it that they paid money for the content, and so therefore it should be up to them to decide who can broadcast it and comment on it and play it and whatnot. And I get that, but also ain't that bit like 40 years old?
That bit is old as the hills. That happened in the 70s. So yeah.
Right. So I mean, like, it's not like you're jumping on current affairs, and you know, I mean,
the other thing is I did play the bit in its entirety, although I added a beginning and an ending little little segment to it to bring it in and out, but I did very little editing to what was available. I think I cut off the very end of what Lance Russell, he talked a little bit more at the end, and that wasn't necessary, so I cut that out. But yeah, it's more like a reaction video, which I think is within fair use. But far be it for me to try to fight the WWE. They've got far deeper pockets than I ever would think about having.
Right. And I mean, quite honestly, I don't know. To me, I think it kind of falls under free advertising. I mean, I guess the only thing you could have done is say, hey, if you want to see more of this stuff, go to what are they under, Peacock or whatever, and you can watch the rest of it. But I want to say some of that content isn't all there in its entirety, because I've been digging down the Mid-South library, and they don't have every episode of Mid-South posted. In fact, most of the stuff they have is when it's in relation to the stars that they want to push. So, you can't go up and look up every match, in AWA or whatever, but you can sure find the Shawn Michaels ones, and you can find the, ones that have their people in it.
Imagine that. And Adam kind of brings it into perspective here. Once you reach the 1K mark, you can monetize all your older videos. So future monetization could go towards that idiot thing that they did. Vince McMahon will send his top lawyer, Jerry McDevitt, after you. I don't need that. I got enough problems in my life without that going on. So anyway, there's that. If you want to see an insane person cut their arm with an axe on television live, go watch last night's show. Once again, I thought that Joe LeDuc was legitimately insane, and that he was really, really trying to kill people. There was a scene at one point where he came out and he had a match where he what is that when one wrestler fights two wrestlers at the same time?
Handicap.
A handicap match. He had a handicap match on wrestling, and he damn near killed one of the guys, throwing him out of the ring. Guy hit his head on the floor, and then he took the other guy and just tossed him on top of him. And of course, Eddie Marlin runs out. The medics are out there. I don't know if that was real or not. It was probably a work. But anyway, Joe didn't give he didn't give two shits about those two jobbers. And he came over there and he said a few incoherent things to Lance Russell and then stormed off. So Joe LeDuc, I mean, the look in his eye, the twitches, I thought it was crazy, and still do this very day. There's something that as Bill Dundee said, the brain elevator doesn't go all the way to the top on that one.
Right. And there are just certain stars that kind of capture your imagination in that way. There was a guy, I can't remember his name. I'm sure you would know it if I thought of it. He always had the big cowbell on a rope, and he's spitting tobacco all over the place when he talked. And big wrestler in Japan. He got in there with Bruiser Brody, and he's the guy that knocked Vader's eye out in Japan.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, you could see Vader's eye sticking out, and he had to put it back in. Yeah, it's a gnarly piece of footage or still photo if you can see it. It's gnarly.
Stan Hansen,
thank you. Yes, that guy was somebody whom, when I was younger, was like, what is this? There's a great interview of Jim Ross in WCW interviewing him, and the guy is beating the cowbell on the ground with the rope, and you can tell JR is like scared to death, and he's spitting his brown tobacco shit, which is just oozing out of his mouth and down his chest as he's yelling and talking. And you could just see JR is just kind of like, what have we got here? And I just remember watching this as a younger man, and
was this in WWE or
I want to say it was WCW. It's a great interview. And it's intimidating because this dude, he has a match, I want to say either before it or after it. And he was known for the lariat, where he basically just clotheslines the guy like he doesn't care about his life. And it was kind of a earlier one like Bradshaw used to do, was probably trying to imitate Stan Hansen's clothesline from hell. He called it the lariat. And man, that guy was the one that I thought was, okay, I don't care what you say about the rest of the dudes on this program. That dude is for real, Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into some of that myself, because I want to see Vader getting his eye poked out. That's horrible.
Yeah, and I don't think he meant to do it, but it happens,
Yeah, right. He didn't mean to do that, but it happened. God dang, it happened.
Well, I want to say it was like a mistimed grab, or like he hooked him, or something. I don't think it was nefarious. Like, you didn't try to do it to the guy. But
hopefully, when he shoved his eye back in the socket, it went back to working again.
Yeah, he's got 2 whole eyes. This is all before he went into either WWF and all that. This is earlier, but you could see him like.
Well, I've heard of people getting their eyes knocked out of the socket from different kinds of trauma. The one I recall was there was a car wreck, and the car slammed, and the jolt was so hard that the eyes are still moving at 60 miles an hour when everything stops, and the eyes just popped out of the guy's head, and they were dangling like that right there.
And then that's about what it looks like. The eyes just dangling across his cheek. And I want to say this is a Vader match where Vader doesn't have the mask on yet. He's just,
I wonder if you can still see out of your eyes when they're dangling like that.
I don't know. It's hard to watch. It's one of those ones. It's kind of like the Joe Theismann me thing. It's hard to watch.
Yikes. All right, John shows up. Hello there. What did I miss? Everything. You're going to have to watch the replay, John. We're not going to go and do this all over again. Sorry, guy. Just not going to happen. Stan actually wrestled a decent amount of his career while partially blind.
I've heard that.
And Vader pushed his eye back in and finished the match.
Yes, he did.
Just a trooper there. Look up some of Stan's matches in Japan if you want to see more brutality.
Yes. Yeah, I went down the Stan Hansen rabbit hole years back because I remembered that interview with the tobacco going there. You got to see that, Phil.
That's probably what I'm going to do today. Yeah. Thank you, Joneser, for
look at JR's face while that guy is out of his mind.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up for today on my end, Joneser. You got any final thoughts?
Not really. If you always have a mother, make sure you call her and wish her well. Enjoy her while you still have her, because our time on this earth is limited, and we should all let each other know how much we appreciate each other while we're still here to hear it.
Thank you, Radical Toys. The scene with Stan Hansen is on YouTube. There it is, right there. Had to clean up the laundry room, and the washer drained all over the floor. We've all had stuff like that happen. Horrible.
I'm sorry to hear that.
On a positive note, the floor's clean now. There you go. Count your blessings.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Good journey, and we'll see you all next time. And have a good Mother's Day and enjoy yourselves. Special thanks to the channel supporters. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like, subscribe, and share the video.